In the final section of our lecture, sexual dysfunction, now we will talk about another important topic, hirsutism. And when we will discuss about hirsutism, we will talk about the clinical assessment of hirsutism. What is hirsutism? What's the different hormonal evaluation in the hirsutism, and how we can treat and approach to the patient with the hirsutism. Hirsutism is the androgen-dependent excessive male pattern hair growth affects approximately 10% of the women. So hirsutism, when you see the female with the male pattern hair growth, with the beard, mustache, excessive hair growth on the chest, legs, that's the very confirmative or diagnostic of the condition known as hirsutism, and that is mainly due to excess androgen production, and it's androgen dependent condition. Hirsutism is caused due to gonadal hyperandrogenism. Gonads are the ovaries in the female, testes in the male. So whenever there is a gonadal hyperandrogenism or increased androgen production, it can cause hirsutism. Ovarian hyperandrogenism, there is also a condition known as polycystic ovarian syndrome, where multiple cysts are formed in the ovaries, and this can cause hirsutism and infertility, also weight gain and the growth pattern of the hair like male. Another is ovarian steroidogenic blocks, then syndromes of extreme insulin resistance, for example, lipodystrophy, and ovarian neoplasm. So all these are different conditions associated with gonadal hyperandrogenism. Then adrenal hyperandrogenism is a premature adrenarche, and then functional adrenal hyperandrogenism, congenital adrenal hyperplasia CAH, abnormal cortisol action metabolism, and adrenal neoplasm. These are all the conditions associated with adrenal hyperandrogenism. Other endocrine disorders like Cushing syndrome, hyperprolactinemia, acromegaly, and then peripheral androgen overproduction, like if patients they are overweight, they have increased production of the androgen, and idiopathic, sometimes no cause is known and they have increased androgen and hirsutism. Pregnancy-related hyperandrogenism, hyperreactio luteinalis, and thecoma of pregnancy. These are two conditions which can lead to increased androgen in the pregnancy. Drugs like androgens itself and the drugs containing androgen are, and then like minoxidil and phenytoin used for the epilepsy, diazoxide, cyclosporine. So all these are the drugs that can cause hirsutism. So many factors which are associated with hirsutism, and the main causative factor in all these conditions is increased level of androgen, and its androgen dependent condition causes hirsutism. And hemophroditism can also cause hirsutism. Now, this is the pattern or the steps of the hair follicle growth and differentiation. And in hirsutism, there is increased formation of hair follicle and differentiation, leading to increased growth hair. So the steps are, we have the catagen phase, then we have telogen, and anagen stage, exogen stage, and then finally we have the anagen stage that can cause the development of the bulb of the hair follicle and the growth of the hair. So these are the different, and definitely when there is hirsutism, all these stages that can lead to the formation of hair follicle and the hair is increased and causes increased hair growth. Clinical assessment of the patient with hirsutism, we have if there is significant hirsutism or virilization, rapid progression, two phases. If the significant hirsutism is not present, then they reassure the patient and give non-pharmacological approach. If there is significant hirsutism, and they then do some lab evaluation like total free testosterone level, dihydroepiandrosterone. If again they are normal, then reassure the patient. So the first thing is, if there is significant hirsutism, we do some lab work, and if that lab work comes out normal, we reassure the patient. And if there is not significant hirsutism, we just reassure and do the non-pharmacological approaches. And if there is increased level of these hormones present, then we should treat the patient empirically or consider further testing like dexamethasone suppression test or ACTH stimulation test can be done. But the final diagnosis is patient might have idiopathic hirsutism, no cause known, or it may be non-classic CAH, functional adrenal hyperandrogenism, or there might be polycystic ovarian syndrome, functional ovarian hyperandrogenism. We already talked about the adrenal and ovarian hyperandrogenism. So any possible cause is present. The normal increased level of testosterone and dihydroepiandrosterone, if it's more than total testosterone, if it's more than 7 nanomole per liter, and dihydroepiandrosterone if it's more than 18.5 micromole, then there is make sure you should this is like a marked elevation, and we should further investigate and diagnose the patient to rule out the conditions like adrenal or ovarian hyperadrenalism. So the assessment, clinical assessment of the patient is mainly depend on how bad is the hirsutism. If it's bad, then we should do some lab work. If they are markedly elevated, we should start the treatment and do some other tests to do the final diagnosis. This is the hirsutism scoring scale. You can see different pictures that shows different male pattern hair growth, and depending on how bad it is, the score is given. We can see there is involvement of both arms. Slowly the hair growth is more, then more and more. So as the condition worsens, it is scored high. The low score is 1 and the highest score is 4, depending on the hair growth pattern. Treatment of hirsutism, we have non-pharmacological treatment like bleaching, depilatory and epilatory, in which we can use some medicine or lotions to remove the hair, and then we can use the electrocautery or laser for the removal of the hair. These are all the non-pharmacological or the non-drug method of treatment of excessive hair growth. Then pharmacological methods include suppression of adrenal or ovarian androgen production, enhancement of androgen binding to plasma binding protein, impairment of peripheral conversion of androgen precursors, and inhibition of androgen action at target tissue level. So our aim is to decrease the androgen level, and different drugs that can affect the decrease the level of androgen at different levels, whether it's from the ovaries, adrenal, or peripheral conversion. The aim should be to decrease the level of androgen so we can cure the hirsutism. Approach to the patient, again, mild hirsutism and then moderate to severe hirsutism. If it's mild, then we use topical eflornithine, which is about 8-week trial, monotherapy or as an adjunct to any other hair removal technique. And then we can also use oral contraceptive pill containing cyproterone, drosophirone, and then we can use the neutral progestin. So all these are the methods. If the result is unsatisfactory after 6 to 12 months, we can add oral agent to topical method and add spironolactone, finasteride, or cyproterone to the oral contraceptive pill. If it's moderate to severe, then we can use oral contraceptive pill, again containing cyproterone, drosophirone, and neutral progesterone, plus anti-androgen like spironolactone and finasteride. And then we can also, if the patient is contraindicated to oral contraceptive pill, then we should use anti-androgen like spironolactone, finasteride, cyproterone acetate, and flutamide. So all these are the different treatment options depending on if the hirsutism is mild or moderate or severe. If the patient is contraindicated to oral contraceptive pills, we can use the alternative method to reduce the androgen level so we can control this excessive hair growth. Metformin, while beneficial in polycystic ovarian syndrome, is not effective for idiopathic hirsutism. So all these are different approaches to the patient and how we can treat the condition. So this was all about our lecture, sexual dysfunction. We talked about sexual dysfunction in the males, in the females, and then we talked about very other important condition known as the hirsutism. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.